Today, we're going to talk about some good bladder habits to follow to make sure that you are having a nice, healthy bladder. So I'm going to kind of go over 3 tips that are recommendations that we have to make sure you are maintaining good bladder habits. But first I want to kind of give you some details about the bladder. So the bladder actually can hold about 2 cups of urine before it actually needs to be emptied. So the normal range or amount that we should be going to the bathroom each day is about 5 to 7 times per day. As we get older, of course, our bladder capacity decreases or it diminishes, and we may need to pass urine a little bit more frequently. So sometimes that might be around 2 to 2.5 hours. Urine should also flow pretty easily. You should not have any discomfort when you urinate. A nice, good, steady stream is what we need to empty. We really shouldn't be pushing or straining to empty the bladder, so everything should be nice and relaxed as we go. Knowing that an urge is a signal that you feel that the bladder is stretching as it fills, so we get a signal that there's an urge to go to the bathroom. They also can be felt sometimes when the bladder is not totally full, so know that urges are not necessarily commands to go to the toilet, but it's a signal that our bladder is telling our brain, hey, you might want to go at some point. I'm going to get into the 3 tips. So tip number 1, take time while emptying your bladder. One thing we don't want to get into the habit of doing, which a lot of us, especially us women, have been there when we go to a public bathroom, is that we like to hover over the toilet seat. But this actually causes our pelvic floor to be overactive, or it doesn't allow our pelvic floor actually to be fully relaxed when we're hovering. So my first tip is sit all the way on the toilet seat like we're meant to do, and then just relax. Take some deep breaths, allow for the muscles of the pelvic floor to relax so then the urine stream can start. Don't strain or push urine out, so just take the extra time. Just sit there, take some deep breaths, allow some time for you to go to the bathroom. Again, I mentioned taking gentle belly breaths can help with the pelvic floor to fully relax. Tip number 2, don't ignore the urge to go to the bathroom or go too infrequently. We see this a lot in healthcare providers, especially nurses, veterinarians, even teachers. That's another population that we see that they're having to hold their bladders for a long period of time because they just don't really have the time in the day. Try to not ignore the urge to go. If you consistently ignore the urge to go, if you wait more than 3 hours to urinate between toileting, or you're urinating too infrequently, it's not necessarily healthy. So this can cause your bladder over time to kind of overstretch, leading to difficulty emptying in the future. So we want to make sure that the bladder is emptying maybe about at a rate of about every 3 hours during the day. That's considered normal. Third tip is do not just in case pee. So we've definitely all been there, especially as kids going on a car ride and our parents tell us, go to the bathroom just in case, we're not going to stop. If we're doing that habitually or we're doing that consistently, it's going to set our bladder up for a false urge down the road. If you're going to the bathroom just in case, a lot of times this looks like you're going more than every 2 hours. It's usually not necessary on the first urge to go to the bathroom. Try to only go when your bladder is full. Urgency and frequency of urination can be improved by retraining the bladder and spacing your fluid intake throughout the day. So again, if you are noticing that you're going more frequently, that is something that can be trained, what we call bladder retraining, to get your bladder on a more normal schedule and kind of give you then a more normal urge to go to the bathroom again. So then you're not running into these scenarios where you're just going just in case. Other things to consider, make sure you're getting enough good amount of fluid intake. So obviously this does depend on body size and environment, but roughly we talk about 6 to 8 cups a day. I mean, I think we've all heard that before, about 8 ounces each, unless your doctor advises otherwise. But not enough fluid can cause a foul odor and dark color of the urine, and the urine's a lot more concentrated. But clear urine isn't also recommended either, because this actually is a sign that we're overhydrated. We're drinking way too much. So we want to aim for about a pale yellow color should be the urine. Make sure to limit the amount of caffeine we're drinking, but also not just caffeine, but even decaf coffee or decaf tea, irritants, coffee, soda, alcohol, tea, even chocolate. So those are just a couple irritants that will actually cause irritation of the bladder lining, and it makes us go more frequently or gives us even high urgency to go to the bathroom. Citrus foods can also do that as well. So again, this gives us that sensation of urgency to go. So just limiting that is a good recommendation. Alcohol is another one. It increases urine production, so it's considered a diuretic, and makes it difficult for the brain to coordinate bladder control at times as well. I know we're entering the holiday season, so that is a little challenging, but those are some recommendations there. And then the other thing, and this kind of alludes to my last presentation I gave, or my last talk I gave, is trying to avoid constipation by making sure you're getting enough fiber in your diet. So again, constipation can put a lot of pressure on the bladder, and it can make us go more frequently, or it can lead to difficulty emptying and things like that. So making sure not only good bladder habits, but we're also getting enough fiber and we're going to the bathroom for bowel movements as well.